Hello, I'm Libby Rose and welcome to the first of many of my video tutorials on simple sewing projects that you can do at home with kids. You can also use some of my sewing kits as a base to do these things at home, but it's just really a way, this first one that I'm going to do today is my embroidery, and this is a really good way to get kids that are interested in sewing, get them learning some of the stitches, using colours and using some fun things as well. Uh, what you'll need, or these are just all my suggestions. So a sewing hoop, I use the 6-inch. I just find them the easiest ones to use. You can buy them at most sort of fabric or haberdashery shops. But all the things that I'll go through all actually come in a whole. I do them as a whole pack of sewing kit as well. But you can just buy hoops on their own. I use it's like a tough muslin cloth. Muslin is quite fine, but what I like to use is something with a bit more weight in it, but not too much weight that it's quite hard when you're stitching through, because little fingers find it hard to get through, and when you're first starting, it isn't as easy as you think it is really. So this has got a weave in it, so it's easy to sort of put the needle through, but it's hard enough that it won't slide everywhere as well. So I use that. You could use a calico, or there are other kind of thick woven fabrics that you can use. But I just like the look of this because you can attach pictures to it and things, and it gives you a nice clean background. Whereas some of the thick woven stuff, I just don't think it's that good in the background. But each to their own, absolutely. Then you'll need some embroidery threads, and they come in loads of different colours. I tend to put about 5 different colours in with a kit, and again you can buy these singly at fabric haberdashery shops. If you're one of my Greenwich and Blackheath lot, there is Rolls and Wrems in Lewisham. There's a few dotted around, or you can always go online and there's a lot as well, or they all come in my sewing kits as well. Okay, so some different embroidery threads, brighter, better colours the better. Now, needles. Okay, so you can get needles that are, this is an actual embroidery needles that you can get. Now, they're good, and they have got a big head at the top, which you will need something with a big head so that you can get this embroidery thread through, because it's quite thick. But what I also tend to use with the little ones is needles are called darners. Okay, yes you can. Now these darning needles, they are a bit thicker, bigger head at the top, and they can really get through get through the fabric. So I suggest that, but you can use the normal embroidery needles as well. So that's a suggestion. Right, then what I do is I use Bondaweb, which some of you might know as the stuff that you can, it's like no-sew hemming up trousers and things like that. I think that they sell it with the IKEA curtains that you can just iron up the bottom of. So it's a bit of a, it's a cheap for not sewing, but also it's great for doing applique and these projects that I do. So I cut out, so say I've cut out a shape of a duck here, and I cut that out of fabric. You see, it kind of looks like a duck at the moment. So I cut that out of any type of fun fabrics and things, and I just collect up loads of fabrics. So in my sewing kits, I put about 5 different shapes in there. But they're already ironed onto the fabric using wonderful Bondaweb or Wonderweb. But if you want to find it by the roll or by the pack, you'd look for Bondaweb. Now, what it is it's paper and this lovely double-sided fusing. So it's like a webbing, but it's glue on both sides. So you take away the paper, throw that, don't need that anymore, and we lay that with our fabric on top of your piece of fabric, your muslin, your calico, whatever it is that you'd like to use as your base. You lay them on top of each other and then you simply iron those on. Okay, so then that will give you just a picture. Now I've decided I'm going to work with a cat. So you've got then a shape in any sort of fabrics onto your base cloth. Okay, now in my sewing kits you get 5 of these already done. So you get different shapes, so a cat, a duck, a dog, a star, or all sorts of different shapes that I've pre-done and ironed on already. So you don't have to buy the bonded web or anything; it's already done. Next, you get your hoop and you put that on. Some of you have asked actually how to put these on correctly. So I lay this without the little knob bit on the top. So I lay that one down. Put my piece in the middle here, and then you can loosen this at the top, squeeze that on, pull this nice and tight. Once that's on there, you feel it nice and taut in there. Screw this back in. I generally have one of these pre-done in the kit. And then the 5 others you can do as you sort of go through the pictures with your little one. It's nice and tight on. Then I include, you can find this sort of information around the place, but these are all the different type of stitches. You can see there's loads of different types of stitches on there. Now I include copies of these as well, so that you can do different types like stitching, flower stitching, things like that. So you can just look around for those. There's loads of information on the web, or you can get those within your kit. So get your darning needle or embroidery needle, it's all thread up, and we can start stitching. So maybe start by going around the edge first. Doing a fun one is to do a cross stitch. This is really good for learning to go in and down. Okay, and then you can turn it to that side. So when you're teaching, you can turn it to the other side so that they can see it comes out here, then back up again, and you flip it back this way. And of course, when you're learning, the next thing that you want to do is just go around. Okay, so that's the one thing to watch. If you're doing this as an activity at home, the one thing to watch is that you don't go around the hoop like that, because then we end up with it locked in. So it's really just going up and down, and up and then down. And as the child gets better and is enjoying just the fact of going up and down, then you can start going with the fancy stitches. You can do fly stitch, French knots, all sorts. There's so many that you can keep going and going and going with. So there's that. Now, then what I find good is, and I include a kind of bag of bits. So it's all sorts of sequins and bows and buttons and all sorts. So if I tip that out and have a look and think, okay, now what does my cat need? I think it might need some eyes. So I want to put one pink eye, one blue eye maybe, and then a bow on its ear is very important, and maybe red a little bit for mouth. Things like that. You could just keep going really with whatever you'd like to add on. So you can then keep stitching. So you stitch your buttons on for your eyes and stitch however much really you'd like to add on to your picture. Then once you've sat and used your embroidery thread to sew all those on, then you've got your picture. Now once you're happy with stitching around and all of that, Then you can unscrew the top, take your picture out, and then what I'd like to do is, if you've made a little bit of a masterpiece, is to get these frames. IKEA sell them, Sainsbury's sell them, all sorts. You can just get a little frame within a frame. You can pop that. Let's see, pop that in there. Inside. Put the frame on. And then it's just a simple case of trimming that fabric from the outside. But there we are. So there's a lovely little picture, and they could go for it. They could have had a blue small one and things like that. But this is a really good activity to do, and you can buy it all ready and all set. And you can buy the frames off me as well, actually. You can buy all in a kit, in a set. When I do workshops in so I do some at Ultimavi and places like that. I often do them where you actually get the frame and the picture and everything together. So if I'm teaching, then I would bring frames along and put all those together. Otherwise, it's a really good one for you to do at home. You can use my kits, so you can have a whole box. And that's how it comes. So if you wanted to do it as a little gift for someone, you could. You could have all of that together. Lots of different pictures inside, and they can sit and stitch and then put it in a frame or whatever else you'd like to do. Give it as a gift for a friend or something would be quite nice. Anyway, that is step 1. That's an embroidery project, and I will keep putting these up so to give you different ideas of what you could do, or kits of mine that you could use and how you can use them. Thank you very much for watching.